I'm C.C. Péan, and this is Reclaiming Your Health.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to Reclaiming Your Health. I am C.C. Péan. I'm so happy to be back here with you this week live. I missed you last week, but we weren't here last week because we replayed a viewing of the communion bread. It was very important because we had the global communion on Sabbath, which I thought was amazing. I was just speaking with Stan about it, and it was an awesome experience. I had my Kedem grape juice, and I had my unleavened bread, and I did communion with my husband, and it was a great experience. Hi, Lynette. How are you? Thank you for joining us. Oakwood in the house. So this week, we are making something that is one of my favorite things to make, and it is their Moroccan meatballs. Why do I call them Moroccan meatballs? Well, it's because of one very special spice that goes in it, ras el hanout. This spice is a mixture of cardamom and cinnamon and clove and ginger and turmeric and black pepper and let's see what I missed, coriander. It is amazing. So it has really warm notes to it. It has spicy notes to it. It has sweet notes to it. And if you've been following me during this series of these cooking shows, you know that I'm the kind of person that loves to have all kinds of different flavors going on in my dishes. One of the reasons I do that is because I'm greedy, A. B, the other is I believe if you build layers of flavor, the less salt you're going to need, the less sugar you're going to need. I am a proponent of healthy cooking. And I believe that you can create incredibly delicious food that just so happens to be good for you. And the way I do that, again, is by building layers of flavor with different spices, with herbs, with aromatics, different textures, all kinds of things go into my dish. So this dish this evening, as I said, ras el hanout is the main spice. It also has tofu in it, extra firm or firm tofu. Extra firm is going to give you a firmer meatball. We have some breadcrumbs. We have some cooked brown rice. We have golden raisins. And let me give you a tip. If you're going to be cooking along with me right now, stop and put some water on your golden raisins just to soften them up a bit so that when we chop them, they'll chop easily and uniformly to go into our meatballs. So do that. Pecans are optional. You can either use pecan meal or chopped pecans. I like to do them chopped because, again, I have a thing for texture. I like texture in my dishes. So that's going to go in there. We have some flax meal, which is going to serve as our binder. It takes the place of egg. We have some salt and some red pepper flakes. Yay, Shauna. I saw Shauna, you got like the real deal ras el hanout, so I know yours are going to taste spectacular. And a little bit more cinnamon because I always like to take things up a notch. We have some fresh parsley that's going to go in there, some fresh mint, onion, and garlic. So if you stopped, please put some water on your golden raisins just to plump them up a bit. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to open our package of tofu, pour off the water, and we are going to use half the package. You'll be amazed at how much this makes. So we're going to cut this exactly in half. We're gonna save this for later. By the way, when you use tofu, if you have any left over, always store it in water. Put it in an airtight container and make sure you cover it with water. So we have our food processor here. Now, if you don't have a food processor, no problem. You can do this all by hand as well. You know, they used to tell you don't play with your food. This is a dish that you definitely can play with your food. So if you don't have a food processor, you can literally put it in a bowl and just mash it together with your fingers. But I have one, so I'm just gonna drop that in here. And I'm gonna run this until it breaks down. So that did not take long at all. Now, one of the things I also like to do is I'm into shortcuts. I try to find ways to cook efficiently and get things done. It's like work smarter, not harder. So what I'm gonna do, since I've done that, these nuts need to be, hi Diva, these nuts need to be chopped up a bit. So since I've broken down my tofu, I'm just gonna drop these in here. Oh, to keep we're gonna use flax meal. That's what we're using to keep them from falling apart. So we're gonna throw these nuts in there. Again, it's optional. If you have a nut allergy, you can make these and they'll still be great without the nuts. And we're gonna pulse this. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to now dump this in my bowl and we're gonna get going with the rest of the ingredients. Because I'm doing this for you all, I'm not using my hands. Typically right now, my hands will be all up in this. Okay. So if you can see, this almost looks like a paste. And there's little chunks in here of the nuts. All right, so now I'm gonna add, I have 3 tablespoons of flax meal. I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of water. I'm gonna mix that up because that's what we're gonna use as a binder. This is gonna be the equivalent of about 2 eggs. See how it's thickening up already? Okay, so we're gonna put that aside. And now we're going to add to our mixture. So I don't mind onions that are not sauteed in this. If you prefer your aromatics to be cooked, you can, what binds them if you aren't able to use nuts? The nuts are not the binder. The binder is gonna be the flax meal. So you don't have to have the nuts are just another flavor profile and texture, but it's not necessary for this to hold together, okay? So if you like your onions and your garlic and stuff like that cooked, you can stir fry that a little bit and saute them. And you guys are coming with the questions tonight. So I can substitute brown rice for the meal. You would add a little bit more rice. Yes, you would add a little bit more rice to it. Now, let me tell you, once this starts to come together, you will see what you need to add to it to get to a place where it holds together. And I'll show you that. So again, if you want your onions and garlic cooked, all you have to do is, you know, cut them up, saute them. I don't mind them. I don't mind them not being cooked, so I have that there. I have my little garlic masher that I love. Gets everything just perfectly mashed. Okay. So you've got our garlic and our onion. And I'm just gonna go over this a little more. Just mince this onion and garlic just a little more. And we're just gonna drop that directly into the bowl. Do not try this at home. What I'm doing. Okay, the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna chop up some of our parsley. I've already rinsed this off, so I'm just gonna kind of like pull it together. Now, if you're somebody who likes parsley, go for it. If you're not, you don't have to use it. I actually have fallen in love with parsley. I did not used to like it, but this adds a really beautiful herbaceous flavor to these meatballs. So I don't know what is going on here. I have all kinds of stuff popping up on my screen. Okay, so we've got our parsley. We're gonna drop that in the bowl. We've got some fresh mint. I don't know if you all have ever cooked a savory dish with mint, but it really is different and delicious. So I'm gonna take about 4 or 5 leaves. I'm gonna roll them really tightly. Okay, and then I'm gonna go back over it sideways because we don't want any big chunks of mint. Again, if you follow me, you know that I'm the kind of person that likes every single bite. I like to taste all the flavors in it. So that's minced nicely. That's going in our bowl. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna chop up are our golden raisins. Now, I've also shared with you all that I love to use raisins and dates in the place of sugar. It's a great way to add sweetness without having something processed going into your food and into your body. So I love to use golden raisins. And because I soaked these, they are really breaking down beautifully. You all are gonna see how easy this is. Now, if you have a moment, we're gonna be getting started in very shortly with frying these up. So if you would like to, you can turn on your fire under your pan to maybe a medium heat. So our chopped raisins are now going in there. Okay. So I can get rid of my board now, and I can get rid of my knife. I'm gonna pull this closer to me. All right, so now we're gonna add our ras el hanout. And how much of this are we using? We are using 1 tablespoon. That's going in there. A little extra cinnamon. You have never cooked with mint before. Yeah, it's really nice. It's really nice. We've added a little bit of cinnamon, but if you're shy, just add a little bit. You don't have to add all that I added. I added 2 tablespoons of minced mint. You don't have to use that much. We're gonna add in our salt and our pepper flakes. We're going to add in our half a cup of cooked rice. I'm making half the recipe. So this is half a cup. And I am going to add in, this is what happened to our flax meal. You see that, how it congealed? So that's gonna go in there as well. All right. And I'm gonna put on some gloves now, and we're gonna combine this all together. And the last thing we're gonna add is our breadcrumbs. So you're just gonna get in there with your hand and mix all of this together. You can add a can of pureed beans. You can get some beans, some chickpeas if you want to add even more protein to this. You can add white bean, navy beans is a good addition to this as well. If you just want to add a little more texture and protein to it, this really is a good base that you can just add a lot of things to. Okay, so that looks pretty well mixed, and I'm going to show you all this. This is what it looks like. Yes, you can grind your own flaxseed, absolutely. I actually prefer to do that because I feel like it lasts longer when it's a whole seed. What I typically do is I buy my flaxseed, I put it in a container, I keep it in a bag, and I put it in the freezer. And I just take it out as I need it. If you have a Vitamix will break it down very quickly. Even a NutriBullet works great. So you can try a NutriBullet. That will give you the same effect. Okay, so that's broken down. And now I'm just gonna sprinkle some of my breadcrumbs and continue to mix it. And this looks like it is well combined. All right. Now I'm going to taste to see if I need to add any more salt to it. Nope. That's delicious. So we've got tofu. We've got pecans. What is the best way to get protein in a plant-based diet? There's so many ways. Now, first of all, every single vegetable has protein. Where do animals that eat, the strongest animal in the world is a gorilla. He's a vegan. All he eats are plants. So every single plant has some level of protein in it. I like to tell people that when you're vegan, you just have to be a little more deliberate about how you are preparing your meals. But tofu is a great way to get protein. Beans are a great way to get protein. Legumes are a great way to get protein. Chickpeas are very, very high. If you're looking for one particular thing, chickpeas are very, very high. Any vegetable has it, but some are higher than the other. So we've got our pan here warming. Now, let me tell you, there's 3 ways. That was 2. There are 3 ways that you can prepare this. For expediency's sake, I'm doing it in a pan, but you can bake these for 30 minutes at 350. You shape them, you spray your pan or put it on a piece of parchment paper, put it in there, 15 minutes, flip them over. That's one way of doing it. You can do it for 10 minutes in your air fryer. Shape them, spray them with some spray oil. 10 minutes, you don't even have to worry about it. Once you put it in there, you just leave it about 350 to 370 for about 10 minutes. Different air fryers, of course, will have different times that you have to use them. But the rule of thumb is about 10 minutes at 350. We are going to fry them tonight because this is the fastest way to do it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of, we're not deep frying it, we're pan frying it. I'm just putting enough oil in it to coat the pan. Okay, I'm going to put on my other glove and I'm going to roll these and drop them right in the pan. Now, what I love about fixing things like these, this is something that's great. You can use this with spaghetti and meatballs. This can be your meatball if you'd like. You can put this in the place of meatballs in a sub. What type of oil? I'm using grapeseed oil. You can use coconut oil if you'd like to. I'm using grapeseed, so I'm just going to form some of these, and then I'm going to drop them in the oil. One of the reasons I love cooking like this is, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's something that it's worth repeating. That is, we need to try to eat things as close to their natural state as possible. You need to try to avoid things that are processed and packaged, okay? The only thing that we're eating, that we're using tonight in this dish that is somewhat processed is tofu. But we are controlling the salt, we are controlling the fat, and that is so important. Anything that can be on a shelf for an extended amount of time, you really don't want it in your body, okay? We are aiming to be stewards of our temple. We have been blessed with temples by the Lord, and we want to take care of those temples, and that means that we're conscious of what we are eating, what we're putting in our temples. So you all are seeing how easily this comes together. And also, this is pretty inexpensive, okay? My tofu, ooh, this is a little hot, was $2.99 for that package. This entire dish probably is $5 worth of ingredients. Yes, you can freeze them and cook them later. I would suggest that but optimally, I would suggest that you fry them or bake them or air fry them and then freeze them. So I think my heat got a little away from me, so these mama jammas are gonna cook pretty quickly. All right, so let's get started. Putting them in the oil. Can you all see that? I think you can. I'm just gonna keep going here. If you all have any questions, shoot away. Oh, one thing I do need to let you know, starting next week, we are going to be airing at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So know that we're going to be a couple hours earlier starting next week. And I forgot something that I need to grab, and those are my tongs. Let me grab them very quickly. Okay, I'm back. And so we're going to see how these are cooking up. I think we're going to be able to fit all of them in this pan at one time, which is great. But you see how quickly we put this together. And it's great to know that you can eat a heart-healthy, plant-based meal in a matter of minutes. It can be ready. What's the best way to transition to a plant-based diet? I would start one day a week. I would either take out meat altogether, or what I would do is, if I'm used to eating meat 3 times a day, one of those meals I would change. I would say, okay, I'm used to having turkey bacon for breakfast. I'm not going to do turkey bacon anymore. I'm going to try something else. Now, one of the things that people tend to get into, which is kind of a bad thing, is they will start to substitute real meat for veggie meat. Now, these are browning up beautifully. You don't want to do that. Now, some people, it's okay to have veggie meat every once in a while, and I'm talking about processed packaged veggie meat, but you don't want that to be your crutch. Optimally, the best way to eat is more plants, not stuff that is processed or packaged. So what I would suggest is that you just gradually start taking meat out of one of your meals. And then you start taking out of 2 of your meals. And then 3. What is the name of the Moroccan spice and where can I find it? It is called Ras El Hanout. And Ras El Hanout, I actually got this one at Whole Foods. You can get it at Sprouts. You can get it at Target. On my page on Facebook, I actually have a picture of the one that they have at Target. I have purchased it in the past at Kroger's. So it's really not that hard to find, but Shauna, who is watching this evening, I think she ordered hers on Amazon, And she got the real deal. Like hers is the real authentic one. And I'm curious, I'm jealous. I think I'm gonna go see if I can find that one at a local market. But you can get it Target, Whole Foods, Sprouts, Kroger, Publix. It's really not that hard to find because it's a very well-known Mediterranean and North African spice. And when you smell it, you'll know what I'm talking about. You've smelled it before. So these are cooking up very nicely. And so I'm just gonna keep working with them to make sure I get all sides browned. Sometimes I make these and I serve them with a really nice zippy garlic sauce. Oh, so yours smell awesome, Shauna? Great. Great. It's some good stuff. You know, one of the things I say about veganism and eating more plant-based dishes, we're so used to eating a certain thing, like for breakfast, we have to have eggs and bacon and toast and waffles and pancakes. You don't have to eat that way. There's nothing that says that you can't in the morning have a big salad, or that you can't have some blanched greens, or that you can't have some of these meatballs for that matter, and get your protein that way. So when you're transitioning, think out the box. You don't have to do things traditionally. I think, you know, we're used to doing things a certain way, and that in many ways is what's gotten us in trouble with our health. Because we do things for convenience, that tends to be, you know, how we make decisions, and convenience kills. You know, like stopping at McDonald's and getting that Egg McMuffin for breakfast, or, you know, eating that Starbucks Impossible sausage sandwich, which I have had, and it's tasty, but that does not need to be your norm. That needs to be your every once in a while. So these are really coming along nicely. That one got away from me a little bit. So let me grab my plate for plating. While those finish up, I'll be right back. Okay, that smells great. It smells great. Now, if you want these firmer, you can always add a little more breadcrumbs to it. As they cool, they will definitely firm up. This is another way to hide a whole bunch of veggies in a dish. If you're looking for unique ways to incorporate veggies into your dishes, you see what I did with the blender, with the food processor where I broke things down. You can put broccoli in here and break it down, and that can be an added layer. You can put frozen spinach that has been drained. You can drop that in there, and you can add a whole bit of nutritional content that way. And your kids will eat them up and they won't even know what hit them. But there's so much you can do. So we've got quite a few. These are all looking good. So I'm going to take them out and put them here on my paper towel. Just to drain a little bit, get a little bit of that fat off. Let me see, how many do we have here? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15. We've got 15 of these. That's a good amount. I'm gonna turn this off. So these are delicious by themselves, but as I was saying, the garlic sauce Yes, it is that one. The garlic sauce is very easy to make and it's delicious. And let me tell you, I'm going to tell you how to make it. Once you make it, you guys are going to be putting this on everything. It is very simple. You take about 4 or 5 garlic cloves. Make sure you crush them because when it blends, you want to make sure that you don't have any chunks of garlic. So you're going to take like a half a cup of Vegenaise. You're going to take about 4 or 5 cloves of garlic. If you want it even spicier, you can add more, but I think 4 is probably pretty good. The juice from 1 lemon. Put that in your NutriBullet or put it in your Vitamix or your blender and let it spin. Baby. Delicious. Absolutely delicious. I use it on so many things. And Diva just reminded me of a black eyed pea slider that I made and I put that on there. It's really, really good. So we are going to now, I actually have a little bit in the fridge. Excuse me, you all, I have to get that. I'll be right back again. This is something that I keep. I keep some of this in my refrigerator at all times because it's just a great condiment. So we're gonna put a few of these in here. Put 3 of them in here. I'm gonna just take a little bit of this dip, put it right in the center. We eat with our eyes. So we want our food to be not only tasty, but we want it to look good. And I love that Sprouts now has these containers of microherbs because it means I and you all can give your dishes a restaurant-worthy appearance. So we'll just put a few on top and then just drop some on the side. And we have our dollop of our garlic sauce on there. And here you go. Can you see that? These are can I get an overhead shot of that? Yeah. These are our Moroccan meatballs. And once you taste these, there is a flavor explosion that you will experience, and you will thank me for this recipe. So thank you all for joining me this week. Remember, next week we were going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I don't know if you all know this, but immediately after this show airs, it's available to watch the recording. So if you miss me live, you can always go back to the Reclamation Project page or go to my page and it'll be there. Yes, hey Tammy, the ingredients have been posted. I will be adding the directions, so yes. But thank you all for joining me. Here's to reclaiming your health. See you next week. Bye-bye.